An agreement that would grant the Whitehouse Police Department limited immigration authority was denied.
We were not accepting this contract.
City Council members voted on the implementation of the 287G Task Force Model Program. The program would give officers the ability to enforce limited immigration authority with federal oversight, according to ICE. Now, during the public comments, 7 people shared what they've witnessed in their community and asked the City Council to deny the policy. Paul Robeson, the Chief of Police for Whitehouse, clarified that no officer will be required to check immigration status nor be required to participate in the program. The vote was split before Mayor James Wansley voted against the agreement, resulting in a 3-2 decision.
I prepared myself because I was there when Bullard, voted to accept 287G. And so that's what I was expecting here. I knew that if I prepared myself for the worst, I wouldn't be let down, I was not prepared for the best because we've had so many losses, It's been an uphill battle for Hispanic folks, and the fear and the uncertainty that we've been facing.
As of late 2025, 22 law enforcement agencies in East Texas have signed that 287G agreement with ICE. We have not heard back from Whitehouse city officials on a comment about the decision tonight.